Adventure of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman, W4CY Radio, with our powerful business strategy expert, Michael Barbarita, here to give us some great strategies, including today we're going to talk about position of market dominance as employer of choice. Tell us what it's all about, Michael.
Will do, Dean. Thanks for having me. So, as you know from previous shows, the position of market dominance is the problem the customer has and doesn't want, and the solution they want they can't find. You come up with that combination, and you'll get more business that you can handle. If it's the right problem, you got to identify the right problem. So a lot of my clients have come to me and asked me, I'm having problems getting good people. Well, it involves a little bit more than just what I'm about to say, but not much more. And that is this. A position of market dominance works extremely well with customers, but it also works extremely well in finding employees and becoming the employer of choice, because you're identifying the problem the employee has that they don't want, along with the solution that they're looking for that they can't find. So the position of market dominance not only works with customers and acquiring customers, acquiring leads, and converting people into your process, but it also helps you become the employer of choice, because you're identifying problems employees have that they don't want, and that they are looking for, and they can't find it anywhere, or they can't find it in many places. And that's the value. That's how an employer can become an employer of choice, by really brainstorming the problems that employees have. And one great way to do it is asking your current employees why they like working there, and getting feedback from them as to how things can improve. And if you can make that improvement, that's a problem that you're solving for a new employee. So interviewing your employees is really important in terms of getting a perspective as to what problems that they have or what they like about working there. And if it's just run-of-the-mill stuff that they give you, you've got to figure out what the real problem is that that employee has, because you're going to stand out. If you can identify those problems, solve them, you're going to stand out. You're going to become the employer of choice. So we've always talked about position of market dominance as a marketing strategy, and it is, but it's also an employee acquisition strategy as well. And so it works well on both sides of the dynamic.
So tell us a little bit about how people can find out more from you about this, and what strategies you could implement for them.
Well, what we do with it's a whole the position of market dominance employer of choice is a 90-day program that we have. We have a 90-day program for 90 days to fast cash. It's a cash flow program, so we have that. We have a 90-day program called Position of Market Dominance, Employer of Choice. We have a 90-day program called Position of Market Dominance. So to get more information is you go to our website, you go to the contact page. Our website is nextstepcfo.net. Go to the contact page, fill out the contact form, and write in the description section, Employer of Choice. And then what we would do is it's a 90-day program, because it involves understanding the culture of your company. It involves really how you go about. It also involves how you go about finding the problem that the employees have that they don't want. And it also involves taking a look at your benefits package, maybe streamlining that, maybe even reducing it. I've seen situations where we reduced it because whatever benefit that company had was not a real problem that employees had. So if it's not a real problem that they have, then why offer it? Why promote offering it if it's not a problem that they have?
And maybe it's not a benefit to them if it's not a problem they have.
Yeah, exactly. So if it isn't, yeah. So you've got to kind of review those things as well, in terms of your benefits that you're offering. And like I said, if you've got to really start understanding what employees' problems are through your employees, number one. Number two, I've also done it in my situation, in hiring employees. I've also done it in interviews where I don't like the person that much and I don't think I'm going to hire him. I still want to ask him what his problem, what the problems that he has with other places that he chose to interview here. So you can actually get feedback from interviews. And by the way, you can do it with a good interview too, with someone you want to hire. You can do it
Sure,
but you can do it with someone you don't want to hire as well.
Well, you get different perspectives too.
Right, exactly. And look, the whole thing in both marketing and finding employees is identifying that problem that they have. And it could be many times the problem they have is with the industry. In other words, from a marketing standpoint, they have the customer has a problem with contractors not showing up on time or making a mess of the house after they leave, all that. So you address those issues in your marketing. And the same thing with marketing for employees. You got to find out what is their hot button, what turns them on about a company, because 90% of the time it's not money.
Yeah,
it's not money. So in the contracting business, it's career development and career path. There's no real career path for a carpenter. They could be a lead, but that's it. What we've done with many of my clients in the construction business is we've had levels of carpentry. So a carpenter 1 is at the entry level, but then you could get promoted to carpenter 2. In order to get promoted to carpenter 2, you have to understand this, and this. And then carpenter 3 before they become a lead. But it's a career path. That's something that's missing in the trades.
Yeah, that's true. And so why do you think businesses may not focus on market dominance with their employees? Or, maybe why don't they even think about it sometimes?
Well, they look at the messages that the want ads and the messaging that they've been attracted to, and or has historically worked, or is what everybody else is doing. Okay, they'll look at other people's ads and say, "I'll copy that," and they copy it. But if it doesn't identify the problem the customer has, you're not going to get the action, and you're not going to get the quality. You're going to get the scrubs. So,
is there any disadvantage to them putting a focus on those employees?
On
the market dominance with the employees, is there a benefit to an employer why they wouldn't want to do that?
No, other than it's different.
Yeah.
Change is hard, Dean. Change is hard. It's hard for some business owners, just repel it completely. And I could never work with that kind of situation. You have to be open-minded in order to work with me, because we create strategies that your competition isn't doing. So therefore, that's change. That's change, and change is difficult.
I was just having this discussion last night with my son, actually. Like in the industry I'm in, you either change or you die, because technology is moving so fast and things are evolving so fast. So you constantly have to reevaluate. And we were talking about a perfect example of the absolute disaster when you don't change and you're resistant to change and you don't want change. And that's the company IBM, because there's still, to this day, and we're going back like 40 years, to this day, they still haven't figured it out. And still, they were the serious dominant technology company, but they refused to let the mainframe go away. And they were very resistant to Bill Gates' idea of a PC in every home. And here we are, So, and to this day, they still struggle, and they will never be the relevance they ever were again because of the resistance to change.
Yep. And business owners are the same way. It's hard. Change is hard.
Yeah.
And it's hard to convince business owners to change, especially when they have a certain, parochial method that they've always used and, that's always worked well.
Well, I say
things are different now.
Yeah, I say they need to reach out to you and schedule something with you, because the only thing constant in life is change.
There you go. I agree.
Thanks once again, Michael. And
Thank you, Dean.
We'll see you next week as we are going to build some 2027 strategic plans in Q3. So, everybody, thanks for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman and our powerful business strategies with our resident expert from Next Step CFO, Michael Barbarita. And we will see you again next week.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.